Good morning, everybody. This is Kathy with Premier Companies, and I apologize. We had a little technical difficulties getting signed in this morning. This morning, I have with me Levi Robinson with AIG. I also have Michael Brandenburg with us with AIG. Good morning, guys. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Great.
Morning, Kathy.
Good. Good morning. You guys, we've been talking about this for a couple months now, but policy review, and I think every time at this time of the year, a policy review is very, very good for the agents to be talking about with their clients. So I'm going to let you guys kind of go ahead and kind of get kicked off a little bit on this. But Levi, you're pretty new to be working with us. Can you give us a little bit of background on what you do for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So my role at AIG, I'm the Vice President of Product Training. So I conduct and create multiple training presentations and sales concepts around all of our life insurance products, ranging from term to IUL to VUL. Been with the organization AIG for about 4 years now. Prior to that, spent 7 years with a previous life insurance carrier, and I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Nice. So you got some really good experience, and I can see you can help us quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to assist in any way.
And Michael, you've been around with us quite a while, so but go ahead and give your information with us because we always love hearing from you, and you do a great webinar all the time.
You're too kind. Yeah, so Michael Brandenburg, I'm Regional Vice President for AIG in the Upper Midwest, so I cover states like Nebraska, but I'm all the way from the Milwaukee area in Wisconsin all the way west to Nebraska, Iowa, North and South Dakota, Minnesota, and anyway, so love to help you guys out in any way we can like this. And if there's any questions at the end, one thing I wanted to throw out is make sure once Kathy opens this up for questions, we'd like to entertain questions as well. Because anything we can do to facilitate, that's what we're here to do. And again, having Levi on is a good privilege because he is such a wealth of excellent information. So thanks for the opportunity, Kathy.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys, for being here, and thanks, everybody else, for joining us. If you have any questions throughout this the webinar, we will go over questions at the end unless I see something that's needed right away. There's a questions and chat box. Go ahead and put the questions in there, and I'll make sure that we can read those out at the end. Otherwise, if they don't get answered, one of the marketers here will make sure to reach out and touch base with you. So, guys, let's talk about policy review. What can you help us with and help the agents with?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kathy. And feel free, if questions do come in, you can interrupt me at any point. I'd be glad to try to address them as they come in, but at the end is fine as well. As you alluded to, policy review is a pretty important topic, and I think it's very timely, as you alluded to, being the end of the year and start of the new year. And we have a pretty big focus around this important topic at AIG. We actually have an entire, what we refer to as playbook of material that you can utilize with clients, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But we have a little lead-in marketing line here. Your life doesn't stand still, and neither should your coverage. As we all know, life insurance is a very important foundation when it comes to an overall financial plan, but it needs to be reviewed because your clients' lives do change. They could get married, have children, change jobs, move, and all of those items need to be reviewed from a protection standpoint. Without the foundation that is life insurance, it could put families in a very perilous position if they aren't planning properly. And what this presentation we'll take a look at today is highlighting certainly the reasons why policy review is important. But also taking a look at, when, what type of clients, what type of products should you be reviewing with your clients in regards to life insurance. Because, reviewing your clients' policies every few years is an important part of helping your clients keep their financial strategy intact. Financial planning encompasses a wealth, of information and products and ideas. But I really, truly believe that protection is the foundation of a solid plan. Because if their needs or their plans have changed, then the policy that they may own, might need to be adjusted. The policy might no longer be performing as anticipated. and they may have little or too much insurance for their present situation as well as their future goals. And a policy review process isn't always about selling them more life insurance or selling them a new type of product. Their needs might have changed where they might no longer need as much insurance as they currently have. It might be about reducing their overall protection. It's looking at the entire situation and talking with your clients about their financial plans, as well as periodically reviewing the role that their life insurance policy plays in those plans, can really make a marked difference in your client's ability to reach their goals. And not just the clients, but their family and loved ones, as well as businesses, depending upon the market you're working with. And chances are, their life is quite different today than when they purchased their policy. And they might not have purchased a policy from you. It might have been someone else that sold them that life insurance 5 or 10 years ago. And likely, their lives have changed, and so are their insurance needs. And what we boil it all down to here is a systematic policy review is the best way to ensure their coverage continues to keep pace with their needs. And we've created some material that I'll show you that can help you systematically review their policy and their life insurance needs. Why is it important? We've talked about a couple of things. I've listed a few ideas here. Would your clients like to know if they could possibly increase their death benefit and or get death benefit guarantees? Maybe the life insurance policy that they currently have could be a traditional universal life insurance policy. Maybe it's a variable contract that doesn't offer guarantees, and maybe their situation has changed. Maybe they have a different risk profile now. Maybe they want some guarantees from a life insurance standpoint. And there are products out there today, whether it be whole life or GUL or guaranteed variable universal life products, that can provide them those guarantees that maybe weren't available to them when they originally purchased their life insurance. Wouldn't your client want to be reassured that their death benefit proceeds will be paid to the right beneficiary? I think that's very important, especially if your client maybe has recently gone through a divorce, and maybe that spouse is still on as a beneficiary, where maybe there might have a new spouse where maybe that should be the new beneficiary. So making sure we have those designations properly and in place are certainly important. Wouldn't they want to know if their coverage was inadequate due to changes in their lives, their needs, or in potential legislation from a tax standpoint? Do they have children or perhaps parents who rely on them for support? Would your client want to move from renting to buying insurance? Well, that last one there, right, we're talking about term life insurance. When I think of term life insurance, it's kind of like renting insurance. It certainly provides you protection, but at some point it's going to go away or just become astronomically expensive over time. And looking at current term products your clients may own might provide options from a convertibility standpoint to a permanent life insurance policy without the need for underwriting. And divorce, college, children, adopting, all of these are reasons why policy review is important. So what events can trigger the need for a review? Well, do you have clients who have married or divorced in the last several years, have changed jobs or been promoted? Increasing levels of income obviously then lead to increasing spending from a lifestyle standpoint that would need to have increased insurance protection to protect that spouse and family from the untimely death of the primary breadwinner. Have they started a business? Have they sold a business? Have they retired? All of these are trigger points. Have they become parents, or have they become grandparents? Maybe they want to put insurance in place to protect their grandchildren, be able to send them to college. Have they experienced a death in the family, or now providing financial support for a family member? Those that experience a death in the family and potentially see the consequences of not owning life insurance can get them motivated to potentially buy life insurance protection. Obviously, mortgages, refinancing, purchasing second homes would lead to increases in life insurance protection. But let's talk about life insurance policies. because, you know, life insurance has changed quite a bit since, you know, term products and whole life products came about and traditional UL. And if we think about the current premium environment, as your clients' lives have changed, so has their life insurance need. And they really have the opportunity now to get more coverage for potentially the same or lower than the premium they're currently paying when they initially purchased their current policy. We've seen advances in product design. Clients out there today probably don't know what is out there from a life insurance standpoint, whether it be index universal life, variable universal life, as well as the advent of multiple riders for chronic illness protection, long-term care protection, longevity protection. All of this wasn't around potentially when they bought their life insurance policy 5 or 10 years ago. We've seen underwriting changes due to greater medical and heredity knowledge and interest rate environment changes. I think that third point there is pretty important. As we just saw announced, interest rates will be ticking up potentially, not potentially, they are going to go up over the next year or so, and that's going to impact pricing on life insurance policies. Also next year, going to be released is the 2017 CSO tables, or Commissioner's Standard Ordinary Tables. Those are what is used to basically price life insurance from a mortality standpoint. New ones come out every few years that predict the longevity and life expectancies of individuals. That decreases the cost of life insurance. We recently repriced our term portfolio here at AIG, and we offer some of the lowest rates in the industry from a term life insurance standpoint, but not just looking at AIG's product, across the industry. Rates are very low. People think life insurance costs more than it actually does, and having this conversation with them and showing them what they can potentially purchase in a policy review can be very beneficial. If they haven't reviewed their policy in the last 5 years or since purchase of that product, a policy review may be in their best interest. If is their current policy type still the right one? Right? Do they own term? Do they have a UL? Maybe a different product is going to be a better solution for them. Are guarantees now preferable to price? Has their risk profile changed? We mentioned already, right, is their beneficiary designation still correct? Have estate tax laws altered their original plans? You know, life insurance is used a lot of times to offset estate taxation, depending upon the net worth of the individuals. And estate tax law changes. And we've seen it change over the past few years, and we really don't know, you know, what's going to happen in the future from an estate tax standpoint. So monitoring that is going to be very important. Maybe their policy isn't performing. Right? Maybe they bought a UL that was quoted them at a very high rate of return, 12% or 14%, and that policy is not performing anymore. Maybe it's best to move that cash value to a different type of life insurance product. As market volatility exceeded their comfort levels, specifically alluding to contracts of a variable nature where the cash values go up or down depending upon the investments. Have interest rates or sub-account performance met expectations? Maybe when they bought the policy, index life insurance might not have even existed at that point if it was before 1997. So new opportunities for discussion in regards to life insurance products. So as I mentioned, we've got a lot of stuff developed that I'll show you here in our playbook and show you how to get it, but some ideas here in the process of policy review. The idea here is you might want to think about creating talking points to help you in conversations with your client, help setting the appointment. You want to gather the needs analysis data to really determine the necessary protection amounts. And we've got worksheets that can help you determine, you know, do they need more life insurance? The idea is to systematize the review of your findings with your client so you can help make meaningful recommendations. So I want to just walk through 2 examples of case studies, maybe to get you thinking about, you know, what options or reasons would there be for these cases and clients to purchase more life insurance. So we've got Greg here. Greg, he bought his life insurance policy when he and his wife Sarah bought their first home, which was a 2-bedroom condo with a combined income of $100,000. 3 years later, they had twin sons. It is now 16 years later. They have moved twice since then, each time an upgrade from a homeowner standpoint, as well as purchased a vacation home. Greg's sons attend private prep school, and he plans to send them to an Ivy League university, and they have started taking care of Sarah's mother. Greg originally purchased a $500,000 policy to protect his family, and today it has a cash value of $57,000. So based off of this set of facts, is it time to do a policy review and update his coverage? Well, certainly the answer to that question is yes. Right, $500,000 in life insurance is probably not adequate. We would need to gather more information here, right? What's left on the mortgage? What about caring for Sarah's mother? Maybe some different type of products might be viable. Maybe we could use life insurance as a supplemental retirement plan. We could go a lot of different ways here, but just thinking as we go through these scenarios, you know, is more life insurance needed? In this scenario, I would contend that yes, it certainly is. Look at another one here, Cheryl. Cheryl's 44 years old. She's a single mother of 3 and owns 2 life insurance policies, one being a whole life contract and one being a term policy for a combined total protection of $225,000. She has cash value of $28,000 in her whole life policy, and her term has only 2 years left on it before it ends. But she would like to increase her coverage to make sure her children can finish college if anything were to happen to her. She likes guarantees, but she wants flexibility and the potential to have the cash value grow in case she needs to access it in the future. So here, maybe IUL, maybe VUL. She's in good health and making quite a bit more than she was when she bought her policies, but she doesn't want to continue paying past 65. So is there something she can do? Obviously, the opportunity is there for a policy review. She obviously needs more life insurance. Now, the key component here is health, right? Is she in the same health in regards to being able to purchase more life insurance? Maybe we can convert that term life insurance policy to a permanent plan. But a very common situation, right? Most Americans today are severely underinsured from a life insurance standpoint. A lot of people think maybe their group coverage at work is enough to provide protection. It certainly can provide some, but the majority of Americans are adequately underinsured and need your services and need your help from a policy review and purchase standpoint. You can create opportunities to enhance their life insurance position. So as a subset here of qualifications or clients that might be most susceptible to a review, who do you know who has life insurance policies enforced with a purchase date of 5 years or longer in the past, face amounts of $250,000 or more, annual premiums of $5,000 or more, cash surrender values of $20,000 or more, insureds roughly, you know, between the age of 40 and 80 with no major changes in health since the time of issue. Do they own VUL or UL or whole life that are underperforming or are inefficient for their current needs? A policy focused on death benefits, maybe rather than cash value growth. Or conversely, maybe they don't even know you can use life insurance as a cash accumulation vehicle. Think about, you know, 3 to 5 qualified clients who might fit one or more of these descriptions above, and they should really be on the top of your list for those that you might want to approach the conversation of having a policy review. What do we need to complete a policy review? Well, we're going to obviously need to gather some information. Current policy information, what type of policy is it, the face amount, the premium, their current marital or family status. Maybe their goals have changed. Maybe they have new goals, such as retirement, educational goals, personal goals. Do they have assets, real estate, stocks, bonds, personal savings, financial obligations that would put a surviving spouse or family member at risk if the primary breadwinner were no longer there? Maybe their children have gone to college and they have their own lives now. Maybe they want to shift their focus to maybe charitable intentions. We would need to gather all this information, and we've got tools for you that you can utilize. So prepare yourself and your client. Your clients will appreciate if you are prepared and take the time to understand their values, their visions, as well as their goals. by asking probing questions, which can help you get to know your client's present position, current cash requirements such as final expenses. Ask personal questions, date of birth, health status, that may help uncover reasons to update their policies. And expand from the fact finder, and I'll show you the fact finder here in a second. Script out additional questions that may enhance the meaning. You know, getting an in-force illustration done on any current policies is certainly going to be key. And before we summarize this, I want to show you what I've been talking about for a few minutes here, is this policy review playbook. So you can access this via the master playbook at AIG, which is just aig.com/master playbook. Also available on eStation, but we can provide the link for you as well. And when I say playbook, all I mean is it's a website that houses a bunch of information and material. And the great thing about our playbooks is there's no login or password required. You don't need anything except internet access to gain access to our playbooks. And one of them we have, as you see here, focused on policy review. And really on the left-hand side here are our policy review materials. We've got policy review flyers. We have client-approved material. We have client flyers, case study worksheets. We've got FAQs, prospecting letters, all available for you. What I wanted to highlight here are a couple things. First of all, this case study and worksheet is really the largest document in here and most detailed. It's 4 pages long, and first it walks through a case study, which I'm not going to walk through for you. You can certainly read through it. But what I find most helpful here is page 3. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. And it walks through how you can calculate, right, the total need for life insurance. It walks through current cash requirements, a very simple analysis, but put down final expenses, put down, do they have an emergency fund, what's their mortgage balance. You add all those up, and that totals the current cash requirement needed upon death from a cash funding need. You look at long-term cash needs, monthly income requirements, cash reserves. The cash reserve factor is a formula you can use over here. And then you're going to add those up, add up all their assets, and then it's going to give you a little math here, but it will help you determine what the life insurance is needed. Now, you might have your own methodology of calculating that, certainly, but this is a tool available, a very simple one, that can help in the policy review process. We've got client FAQs, you know, about why would you want a policy review? You know, if I can't find my policy, what should I do? What if it turns out that I need less insurance than I have now? You know, I mentioned before, a policy review might not always mean you need to purchase more life insurance. Here's a look at the prospecting letter that's available to you. Pulled up on the other screen there. But this is a prospecting letter you can use, completely approved and everything for external use with clients. The presentation you see that we just went through, it's out here as well, this very PowerPoint. So a wealth of information there for you, all focused on policy review. So, you know, you want to reiterate why a policy review is in the best interest. The reassurance that their insurance is in line with your clients and their family's long-term needs. The knowledge that they're not paying for more coverage than they need. The opportunity to review their entire financial situation, which may lead to life insurance and other opportunities. You might discover a need for annuities. You might discover a need for health insurance, a final expense, right? A policy review can just really be the foot in the door to start and have these conversations from an overall planning standpoint. It allows you the chance to determine if their life insurance is working as efficiently as possible, as well as the possibility to optimize the client's investment opportunities as well. I mentioned we already looked at some of the stuff we have available to you. We have that entire playbook there. So the next steps, and then I'll stop and see if we have questions or thoughts or comments that come in. But the policy owner should complete the policy review worksheet. In-force ledgers should be requested on those existing policies so you can determine whether or not they're performing adequately. The in-force ledger is going to provide an overview based on the original sales proposal and show you current cash values, the assumed premium payments at current assumptions, being what are current interest rates or projections depending upon the type of product. And based on the data collected, you should be able to offer your findings, right? The policy, maybe it is performing as expected, or maybe it's performing better than expected and no changes are needed at this time. Maybe the policy requires some minor adjustments. Maybe we just need to change the beneficiary. Maybe you just need to adjust the premium or payment period. Maybe the policy requires substantial changes, including the contemplation of a new and possibly more efficient policy. And they're becoming more efficient every day. The industry certainly is not stopping from an innovation standpoint, so it's always a good idea to keep aware of the new products that are out there, the new riders that are out there that can provide multiple benefits that weren't available in the past. So I'll stop there. I like to keep them presentations around 30 minutes or so. I know webcasts sometimes can get a little long, but I'll stop here now and we'll see if we have any thoughts or comments from Kathy or Michael or any questions that might come in.
Hey, Levi. I had an agent. He's making a couple comments here. I'm going to open him up here so he can talk because everyone's on mute. But,
sure.
Raymond, are you there?
I'm here.
Raymond, okay, you made a couple comments. I'm going to bring you into light here. Some of these are pretty good, so I kind of wanted you to talk about them a little bit.
In what way do you want me to talk about it?
Just go ahead and read them because no one else can see these. So.
Oh, okay. What I was just suggesting is when you're having a conversation with clients about, their life insurance, is to also ask them if they needed caregiving. Where would they get the benefit? In other words, how would they pay for it? And one of the ways that you can do it is you can reposition life insurance, where you can transfer some of it, not all of it, to a hybrid plan. And if the people need, your clients need long-term care, they could use it from their hybrid plan. Now, I'm not suggesting you transfer. Life insurance is also about either creating a estate or providing enough cash value or life insurance to pay for expenses. But I'm suggesting that life insurance agents, if they're not versed in long-term care plans, to call it with people like me, so that we can, so you can help a client not only with their life insurance needs, but also with their possible care benefits.
Thank you for talking about that. Levi? Mike, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we've seen the advent of movement away from like standalone long-term care products, but there are still some good ones out there today. But we've seen the design of life insurance with linked benefits, whether it be a long-term care rider or a chronic illness rider that can help provide that protection for long-term care, because that is certainly a very important planning opportunity and risk for a lot of families today. Especially we've seen the baby boomer generation is really on the precipice of retirement, and they're going to need long-term care services or protection. Statistically, the majority of us will at some point. So I completely agree with those thoughts and comments. Absolutely.
Wonderful. When you first started this webinar, I had a few things I jotted down. You were talking about doing policy reviews, change for job changings and moving and things like that. And it's been what we've had here in the last week or so. We've had a lot of agents calling in. What they're finding is agents are talking to the clients are finding out they are moving, but not just moving out of this town or whatever. They're moving from state to state. Now, does my insurance policy, this rider, work for this state? They're calling back and asking those questions. And that's something else you should be talking to about your clients, making sure that, when they did move, what type of policy did they have? Because certain states don't have the same riders on them. And then I've had a few people tell me about moving out of the country, and they're, moving to a certain part of the different country. They're not giving up their U.S. citizenship, but they're moving over there for 3 or 4 or 5 years. How does that affect their policy? Now, do you get a lot of those calls?
Yeah, I've got those questions in the past. A lot of times, the most recently questions come up is, say, if I own a life insurance policy and I have a chronic illness rider or a long-term care rider, and I move overseas and I become chronically ill, will you pay me benefits? And that's going to depend. It's going to depend on the carrier. I can just tell you our stance on it at AIG. We will pay benefits overseas. With our chronic illness rider, we don't have any limitation in that regard. But some carriers do, and some carriers might limit it. So that's certainly something very important to look at on their current in-force contracts, and well as talk to them about what do they plan to do in the future as far as where they plan to live? So those questions are poignant and do certainly come up.
Wonderful. Another one, this was just yesterday, an agent called me and was talking to a client. They're trying to write life insurance for their client, but the client might change their jobs in the near future to be a pilot or have a riskier job down the road. Now, how does that affect one of your policies if they did this?
Yeah, so from an insurance standpoint, they just really need to be eligible at time of purchase. So if they purchase a life insurance policy and 10 years later they become a pilot, you know, that's perfectly fine. We won't get rid of their contract for them, but that could impede them from purchasing new life insurance contracts if their avocation is dangerous, right? That could prevent them from an underwriting standpoint. But as far as in-force life insurance contracts, we wouldn't be able to go and rescind it in the future if they decide to change their job to a more risky avocation, but that could certainly affect purchasing new insurance going forward.
Wonderful. And that helps because each carrier has something different to say about each one of them, so that's a good good to know. When, you know, if you're out there talking to clients and finding out, it's like, you know, they're, especially younger clients, you know, they're probably still trying to figure out their degree, what they're going to do for their career, for their lives. And it was Kelly in our office, and I was just talking about this yesterday, how the new millenniums are now, there's research out there said they're going to be changing their job career at least up to 27 times in a lifetime.
That's a lot.
So, yeah, and it's just what they've done for research, you know, and it's kind of amazing talking about that. And from where, you know, the area we're at, you know, that's 7 to 8 times. So it's like looking for that career and trying to use something to grow on and do different things. How is a life insurance policy going to grow with them, and what's the changes going to be for them? Trying to get them one policy that, like you guys said, no matter where they move or what their job's going to be, the policy is going to stick with them and work for them. So it's a good idea to be talking to your younger clients out there, trying to get them a policy today that's going to protect them for a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that and Kathy, that makes a good point for actually doing things as young as you can, because the funny thing about life is people don't get healthier. You know, you're never going to qualify as effectively as you do today. Waiting, your health eventually catches up with you, and you know, it'll be harder to qualify. If you do things later in life, just like you were suggesting, like maybe they start to fly later, they still qualify for the policy based on when they purchased it. Trying to requalify with new hurdles like extensive small aircraft flying is only going to mean that now to qualify for life insurance it's going to cost you even more. And another interesting thing, because I was a reservist for 27 years, is war clauses in a policy. What if someone goes and joins the military? There are policies actually which have a war clause, meaning that if the client is killed in combat in a wartime setting, some carriers will not cover that. And so that's an interesting thing to make sure you're covered before the fact. Our company in particular, if the underwriter knows that you're purchasing the policy because you're about to deploy overseas, we'll actually hold off, but hold off on issuing a policy. However, if you purchased it as a reservist or an active duty person, you'd certainly qualify, and then if you deployed later, you would be covered because we do not have a war clause in our policies. So that's kind of another interesting thing. Again, going back to, you really can't buy it too young or too early. I mean, buying it when you're younger is always going to work to your advantage when you're older.
Right.
Especially when we add in on top of that the living benefit riders, which are available nowadays.
Well, exactly. I've talked to a lot of agents in the past couple of months, and a lot of, you know, set themselves at a 65 and an older group, or at least a 60 and older group, and talk to them about, because most of those people have kids that you're looking for the perfect opportunity for a perfect sale here for their kids or maybe their grandkids. For options here. So I did have one more question. It's an agent who wanted me to give her a call after this event, so I'll do that. Other than that, I don't have any more questions that are popping up here. So if anybody has any additional questions or anything, thoughts that they came across or would like to get more details from what we discussed today, please feel free to give Premier a call at 1-800-365-8208. Ask for a life marketer. We're here to help you. And guys, I appreciate it. Levi and Michael, as always, you guys are great. I appreciate your time here, and everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
All right, take
Thanks
care.
for the opportunity, Kathy. Merry Christmas all.
Bye.
Bye now.